So, your last fight didn't go your way. What do you really think went wrong from your point of view?
Um, to be honest, mate, I just think I came across a guy who's been doing the sport a whole lot longer than me. I don't really have any excuses about it. He's just been doing it a lot longer. He's been training a lot longer than me. He's probably got like 14 years of MMA training. He's been doing it since he's a kid. Um, I'm still a baby in the MMA game. I've been doing MMA like 3 years, less than 3 years. So I think it was just a matter of experience, to be honest. I don't think like as an athlete he's a better athlete. I don't think like as a fighter he's a better fighter. I just think he had more experience. He came in, he had better wrestling. He was able to take me down and sort of nullify the best parts of my game, and that's it. Um, Obviously I could have done a few different things, especially in the third round when I end up throwing him and getting on top. I just let him scramble back up and wrestle up again and went for a guillotine. And maybe if that hadn't been the case, maybe if I just made him stand up, the fight could have gone different. But we can't dwell on these things. We just have to look to the future and maybe meet him again at some stage in our careers.
Yeah, because I feel like a loss is a loss. It happens in MMA. But were you more disappointed that you couldn't really show everybody how talented you are?
Yeah, I was disappointed that I didn't have a fight. Do you know what I mean? Like we had a fucking wrestling match.
Yeah, that's where I
Um,
was going with that. It's like you really didn't get to show your style, your charisma, everything.
yeah, yeah,
That's worse
yeah,
than
100%. It was the first fight in my life where like I've come out and my shins and my feet aren't sore. So I'm like, yeah, I just like my body didn't feel like I'd had a fight. I had a few little bruises and cuts on my face, but I didn't feel like my body didn't feel like I'd had a fight. Um, so yeah, it is what it is. But I'm more disappointed for the fans that paid money for tickets to come and watch a fight. They want to come see violence. They don't want to come watch another man lie on top of another man. And I get it, it's MMA and blah blah blah. Like, but fucking come on, like, do you know what I mean? At least fight a little bit. At least like have a bit of a stand up war, and then you can shoot your takedown. You know what I mean? But yeah, I get it. George didn't want to take risks. He knew where the danger was with me, and he knew that I'm a dangerous fighter and explosive and have a lot of weapons at my disposal on the feet, so he just negated that and avoided that at all costs.
And so what was your overall experience with the Challenger series? Not really the fights as much, but just having to live with these other guys. There's trash everywhere, like you can't really escape them.
It was more, hey, listen, I wasn't locked in there with them. They were locked in there with me, as to quote the great Rorschach. Um, yeah, I found it fine, it was just like being back at uni again, to be honest, living in a gaff with a load of lads and messy gaff. And it was a bit weird because I'm like, I was 28 at the time, so it was a bit weird like being back in a uni gaff when you're 28, but it wasn't anything that I'd not experienced before. Plus, in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna get to punch these guys' heads in anyway. So, and to be fair, I was probably doing more of the trash talk and the annoying them and the pranks and stuff like that than they were. So it was probably worse for them than it was for me, in that respect.
And whenever it comes to reality TV, I feel like, the producers have so much control over how you're depicted. Do you feel like they did a good job of representing you and who you are as a person?
I think I did a good job of representing me. I took the power and that choice out of their hands, because I understood that. I understood that reality TV is the way it is. So rather than trying to, you know, come across a certain way, I just said, look, they're going to have a bad guy and a good guy here. They're going to have a bad team and a good team.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna fucking fully go bad. Because like if you go fully bad, it's very hard for them to make you look like a good guy. Whereas if you try and be a good guy, they can still make you look like a bad guy. So I just said go fully into the bad guy mode and make sure that there's off camera, on camera. I was method acting in there, like not acting, but like I was in there methodically, you know what I mean? I wasn't off when the cameras were off. I was still trash talking them when the cameras were off. Cameras would go off, and the guys would kind of be like, "Oh, like the cameras are gone. Like we can chill now." And I'm like, "Nah," you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I was just fully on it all the time. So that way they couldn't represent me any way that I didn't have control over. I had full control.
And so, kind of switching up the topic, do you know what Tapology is? The website that has, all the results and the profiles for fighters?
Topology or haters, man.
Dude, that's the question. That's literally what I wrote down right in front of me. It's Tapology hatred. First off, they marked your banana split win as it doesn't count. And then
Yeah, yeah.
your wins for the Challenger series are not on there when the
They're
Ultimate
not
Fighter
even
they put them on there.
Hey, they're not even on there as exhibitions. Like at least put it there as and say exhibition on it, or whatever, if it was an exhibition. Even though if you go and watch the fight, like it was they were both under full rules. The only difference is with the Hassan fight, there was no elbows. Yeah. But that's just like PFL rules, right? And they're put down as pro fights. So at least put them on there on Topology as exhibition so people know that I didn't just fight twice. Like what I fought in February and then fought in November, and like I just didn't do anything else during the year. Like I'm an active guy, you know what I mean? I stay active and I pride myself on that. So, and then as far as like my banana split win, fair enough. The guy had a shit record, like, but like they've not taken him off anyone else's record.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like they've not taken his anyone else that's beaten him, they've not taken it off their record. So why are they taking it off my record? So I don't know. I have a bone to pick with Topology over that, to be honest. Like, and I think I'll be writing them a strongly worded email, and I'll be getting my fans to write them a strongly worded email as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to go out of my way and send something too because I've seen a good amount of your fights, and if Octagon's growing so big, so I feel like you're going to get a big influx of fans over your after your next fight. And if you go on your profile, which a lot of MMA fans do and fighters do, it's like, oh, this guy's not good. He's 0-2.
Mm.
He barely fights.
But
It's very
do you know what though? Do you know what though? I semi like that as well. I semi like that as well because then people underestimate me. They go, "Oh, you're on two, blah blah blah." It does give some people a reason to run away and duck me. You know, like there's been certain fighters in Octagon already have been like, "Oh, you're on two. I'm not gonna fight you, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh, well, okay, fair enough. Watch what I do in 2 weeks' time, and then we'll see who can still duck me after that." And that's it.
Yeah, so speaking of your upcoming fight, Jan Siroky, very experienced, very tough SOB. What are your thoughts on him, and what do you really expect from him in your upcoming fight?
Yeah, he definitely is tough. Like all the Eastern European fighters are tough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, what do I expect from him? I expect from him to come out and do what he does in every fight, which is come out, swing bombs, swing big overhands and hooks, and when he can't get inside the range and he eats a few sharp objects on the way in, he'll start shooting. But unfortunately for him, he's not the wrestling caliber that George is. Um, and he's not going to be able to take me down and hold me down like George did. So he's going to end up getting butchered from the bottom. He's going to get frustrated and then he's going to quit. That's the way I see this fight going. I do respect him though. I rate him for taking the fight because, like I just said, there's been a few people that have like 7 or 8 fights that have been ducking me because they're like, "Oh, you're on two," and then a guy with 29 fights, he had 20 pro fights before I ever made my amateur debut, and he's willing to fight me. So he's hard, and they're little soft pussies. To be honest, that's the end of it.
And so, obviously, first thing when people see this matchup is they see the experience different. So, how will that be an advantage for him, and why will that ultimately not matter when this fight plays out?
The reason I think it won't matter is because he is experienced. Like I said, this is his 30th fight. Um, But listen, we've all had experiences in our life. Forget about fighting. Yeah. We've all had experiences in our life. It doesn't mean that they're good experiences. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's had 14 wins and he's had 16 losses. So he's had bad experiences also. He knows how to lose. 16 men have beat him, and I'm just going to be number 17. You know, once he gets in there and he starts losing, it doesn't starts not going his way. He knows how the fight's going. You know, mentally, internally, you know, oh, this is not going my way. I know how this ends. You know, so I think I'll be able to break him that way. Um, so that's why I think it's not going to matter. I also just think like our physical attributes, despite all the records and all that other shit, it's a fight. You know, our physical attributes speak volumes in themselves. I don't know what his reach is, but I've got middleweight reach. You know, I'm pretty sure he's got like bantamweight reach. So, I will be very surprised and I'll be disappointed in myself, even if it's a clinical performance. If he even lands one clean punch on me, you know, obviously he might touch me a little bit, but if he lands one clean punch, I'll be very surprised and I'll be very disappointed with the result, regardless of how the result goes.
Do you have any trouble making lightweight, or you got it down to a system now, nice and easy?
I made lightweight on the show twice in 2 weeks. You know, I made lightweight. Yeah, basically fought Hassan, and then 2 weeks later fought Bo, and I had to make lightweight both times. And you know, obviously rehydrate back up in the meantime, and then get back down. So I have no problem making lightweight. I could potentially even make featherweight. Um, you know, I just want to get paid more for that because that would be dark. I'm not gonna lie, like making featherweight would be
Hmm.
grim. So I'm looking for like a good chunk of money for that. If I'm putting my body through that and sacrificing that many weeks of good eating, I want to be able to have like a nice chunk of money at the end of that to go and celebrate with, you know. But yeah, at the moment I'm comfortable at lightweight. You know, I'm bigger than most of these lightweights anyway. I'm tall. I'm long for the weight. So yeah, I'm comfortable there. Easy.
And so when it comes to your experience, if you remember back to your first amateur fight, what did it feel like when you were about to fight for the first time as an amateur compared to the last time you were about to fight, you know, your third fight as a pro? Like, what were those emotions like?
Well, emotionally, I'm not sure. Definitely like my first amateur fight, mate. I was so comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. I was so confident. Like I knew I was gonna win that fight. You know, like in your head, you just know. The crowd didn't affect me whatsoever. It was actually like towards the end of COVID, so it was an outdoor event, and it was a massive crowd. Like I think like 3,000 people there. At like a festival. It was nuts, mate. Like it was nuts. Honestly, for an amateur debut, it was nuts. Um, had to like walk out onto a stage. The the the, the actual cage was on a stage, like a festival stage, and then the crowd was all on one side. So it was mad. It was mad. And to be honest, like for my next few amateur fights, it was a bit of like a downgrade because I've gone back to fighting in like school halls and stuff like that, and like hotel lobbies. Um, so it was a bit mad. But then obviously to my last fight, where it was like in the AO Arena, the production quality is like UFC level, if not above UFC level quality of production, like on at the show. The lights, the walkout, you know, I had a live walkout. I had like an artist with me. Shout out 86 Inc. He's like a rapper from Ireland, and I've been listening to him for years, you know, and then he walked me out and it was just mad, you know, and obviously like the stakes behind it, the money behind it, the belt, it was a different kind of feeling, you know. Um, and obviously just as well, like being George, like whatever shit I spoke about him, I took him very seriously, you know. I knew his skill set. He'd beaten a lot of guys. He was 16 and 17 and 1 as an amateur. IMAF world bronze medalist, European champion. So I was taking him very seriously. And obviously I came out expecting to win, but I was like, right, I was expecting a fight, you know. So yeah, that would be the only difference I'd say, yeah, is yeah, just the production I think and the level of production I would say.
Yeah, I feel like you came into Octagon at like the perfect time because last year was really where all the people stateside where I'm at are really realizing like Oh my God, like Octagon has amazing productions. They're putting on good fights, and the crowds, because a lot of people, a lot of MMA fans think, oh, it's the UFC, it's the PFL and kind of one championship. Now they're realizing, oh, they got Octagon, oh, they got KSW. So it's a really good time to be an MMA fighter, I would think.
Mate, you know what? Like the likes of Bellator and PFL, like no disrespect to PFL and Bellator, but like I don't think they've ever done a European show that sold out the way Octagon sells out that O2 Arena in Prague, or the way they sold out that arena in was it Cologne in Germany, like 19,000, 20,000, 21,000 seater stadium is sold out flat to the mat. Um, you know, they're doing bits, do you know what I mean? They are doing bits. Obviously the UK at the moment it's a bit slow, but they're just starting to branch into the UK. So I assume like the next year or two, they're going to be at that level where they're just doing massive shows, massive arena shows, and then hopefully some shows in Ireland as well. Um, and from what I hear about One Championship, like One Championship give out free tickets outside the event
Mm-hmm.
to get people in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think they've got money anyway. They're throwing money out, so fair play to them. But yeah,
Yeah, I guess that is the big thing about one championship is like, oh, the quality is good, the product is good, but they're like, oh, financially, it's kind of a mess. But I think that's something they got to worry about.
they're definitely operating on a loss. They have to be. The amount of bonuses they give out and stuff like that, like most of their cards are like free on YouTube, right? So like I can't understand how they're making money, but they must be they must be making money somehow.
It's one of those things in business I just never really understand. Like it's always somebody from like, it'll be like from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and they just fund it and they don't even care about like
Yeah,
loss. But
yeah. I wish I had that much money to throw at MMA events, to be honest.
yeah, that would be sick.
Hmm.
Yeah. So for your upcoming opponent, I've heard him say in an interview that you're a keyboard warrior. Have you heard these comments, and what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, he tagged me in his story a while ago, saying, yeah, a real warrior versus a keyboard warrior, because he's obviously in the army and whatnot. I think he coaches the army on how to do like, yo, Steven Seagal, like what knife disarmaments and all that shit. But like, mate, I'm not coming at you with a knife. I'm not holding on to anything. I'm gonna be holding on to your neck.
Mm-hmm.
So your knife disarming isn't gonna work. You're not gonna be able to shoot me in there, and your Aikido is not gonna work on me. Um, so he can chat all he wants. He shouldn't have opened that can of worms because obviously I've been 10-8 in him every time on the trash talk online. So and I think I'm going to 10-8 him every round in the press conference as well. He wouldn't have probably had to go through what he's going to go through, but now he's going to have to go through a fight before the fight. He's going to be stressed out. Um, you know, uh, he's a soldier. He's an army guy, but so is Hassan. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Hassan's done like special forces training and all that, and I still fucking mangle his head. So there's only really one impervious ability to my trash talk, and that's like hyper autism. See, it goes over people's heads when they're hyper autistic, but when you've got an ego like these army guys have, I'm just gonna get in your head, and it's gonna affect your performance regardless of what you think. So.
And why do you think it is that like you rub some of these fighters the wrong way? Because I get it, you come out, you trash talk, that's your thing, that's part of the fight game. But for whatever reason, it's like before you even really get into your mental warfare, it seems like they already hate you.
Listen, I don't know what it is. It must just be my dashing good looks, you know. Listen, you know, maybe his girl was liking some of my photos.
That'll
You
get,
know,
that'll
I
get
don't, I don't know what it is, honestly. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my voice. Maybe my voice is annoying somehow to them. But whatever it is, mate, fucking keep it going. As long as my name's on their lips, like, uh, any publicity is good publicity. Um, in this game, it's better to be hated on than not knowing who you are, because then you're just irrelevant. No one cares.
Yeah, it's kind of like the pro wrestling mindset. I don't know if you watch pro wrestling, but it's like, hey, when you get really booed in pro wrestling, that's a really good thing.
I grew up on pro wrestling, and I don't know whether you watched that event at Manchester, but my fight with George got the biggest reception. Whether it was people cheering him or whether it was people booing me, we got the biggest reception coming out. As soon as our fight was over, the crowd fizzled out. So I think our fight was the people's main event, and I think a big part of that was me selling the fight. Like you said, I'm a heel. I'm a heel. I'm not a baby face. I'm not here to be a baby face. I'm here to rub people the wrong way, as you say. So, um, the more people hate me, the more they're playing into my game, the more they're playing into what I want them to do. So it is what it is. Like you say, the more I get booed, it's energy. I feed off the energy, you know what I mean? Regardless of what kind of energy it is, it's still noise and sound and vibration and energy that's coming at me when I'm walking out, when I'm standing in the cage. So I feed off that.
So we kind of saw a little bit on the Challenger series, but just to clarify, when your fight's done, you don't have any ill will towards your opponents or anything, do you? It's just, hey, it's over. I respect you to a certain extent, whatever. Still dislike.
Yeah, like obviously with the Hassan fight, I gave the corner a bit of what I thought about them after I knocked Hassan out. But that's because the war was not over. The battle was won, but the war was not over because I knew at some point I would have to fight one of uh one of the two lads, either Bo or George. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew they'd won their fights. They're probably going to the semis. The semis were coming up in 2 weeks, so I knew at some point I would have to fight. So it wasn't over, but with Hassan it was over. You know what I mean? Once with Hassan, we shared a beer back at the house. Obviously, they didn't show that on the show
Yeah.
because heel things and whatnot. They want to portray whatever storyline they want to story whatever show that whatever narrative they want to show. But yeah, we shared a beer afterwards. His security company sponsored me, continues to sponsor me and help me in my career now. And we chat, you know what I mean? Same with Bo once the fight was over, and the same with George, even though a lot of personal shit was said on my behalf, I said a lot of personal shit on him. Um, I made him cry, he made me cry. Uh, and now, we chat and we're probably going to end up training together at some point, you know what I mean? We're probably going to end up doing a few bits of training together. So no ill will after you've spent time in the cage, regardless how much time you spent in the cage in there with me. You've made the walk, you've got there, you've made the weight, you've gone through the same shit I've gone through, and we've punched each other in the face. It's done. Do you know what I mean? Whatever ill will anyone else holds towards me after the fight, that's on them.
And so when it comes to the octagon lightweight division, are you a type of fighter that's, keeping an eye on the champion, keeping an eye on the top contenders? Are you really just focused on yourself right now?
The only thing I'm keeping an eye on in the Octagon lightweight division right now is that Tip Sport Game Changer tournament.
Mm,
That's the only thing that matters. The champion's in there anyway,
yeah.
He's in the Game Changer. I think there's still a few spots left. So that's what I want to get into. Fuck all that other shit. If I can get in there and beat Paradise, even if it's not for a belt, I've still beat the champion. Do you know
Yep.
what I mean? Like you still have those bragging rights. So yeah, I'm in there to smoke everyone. I want to fight every one of them. I don't give a fuck, to be quite honest. Everyone in there can get it. I'm really not bothered. Yeah, that's what I think of all of them. No one in there is safe as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, because kind of just touching on how you're saying, oh, if you beat him, but it's not for the belts. There's a lot of legendary world champions like Israel Adesanya who have just said, hey, getting the belt to get you a couple more money, some more money, but I don't actually care about the belt. I care about being the best fighter in the world. Do you carry that same thought?
Yeah. Um, Obviously, I want to get paid for what I do.
Mhm.
If you're good at something, don't do it for free.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like charge what you're worth. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, for my own ego, I just want to know that I'm better than these guys. You know what I mean? And I just want to prove that I'm better than these guys. Now I'm not saying Paradise is not good. He is very good. He's experienced. He's still quite young. Um, he's had a lot of pro fights and he is good. He's a skillful guy, but I think on my day I can beat anyone in the world. Any lightweight in the world um, can get beaten by me. That includes UFC, one championship, all that. I train with guys in the UFC. Do you know what I mean? I train with guys that have been in Bellator, PFL. I've trained with all sorts of guys. So I know my level. I know where I'm at. It's just about putting it together on the night and who puts it together on the night the best. Like I said, I fought people who were more experienced than me. I've ended up knocking them out. Um, Whatever they want to say about exhibition and all this and that, we still had a fight and I still knocked them out. So it is what it is. And yeah, as I said, I'm just going to tear through this division and then make my way towards that belt. Maybe make my way towards that tip sport game changer trophy and that 300K at the end of it.
Yeah. So talking about the lightweight tournament, I'm sure that you have, made a couple calls, sent a couple text messages. What kind of reception are you getting from the promotion? Is there a possibility of you getting in there?
I have not made any statements on trying to get in that just yet. But I'll make my statement on the 27th of January when I knock Jan Siroky unconscious.
And so, last question I have for you: what do you expect? Where do you expect to be at the end of 2024? Top 10, top five, champion? Where do you see yourself?
Um, I expect to be 300K richer at least, and yeah, top five ranked, fighting for the belt in 2025 potentially. Yeah, that's what I expect of myself. Like I said, I'm active this year. When I get 5 fights in, maybe even 6 fights in, none of them are going to be exhibitions. So I'm going to burn through this division. I'm fighting a guy early in the year, January, at 0-2, who was just ranked number 8 in the division, by the way. He just got removed from the rankings the same day they confirmed the fight with me. So I smoke him, and then I want a top 15 or a top 10 opponent straight away after that. Or put me in the game changer and let me do my thing there. There's plenty of top 10 guys there. You know, there's guys in that game changer with way less fights than Siroky. You
Mhm.
get me? So let me fight some of them. Let me test myself against some of them. Makwan Amir Khani's in there, UFC vet. Let me fucking smoke that little featherweight, lightweight wannabe. Do you know what I mean? I'll fuck him up. He's got one round in him, so I'll finish the job my teammate Lerone did to him. He fucking sparked him out in the second round, so I'll put the stamp on his career, the final nail in the coffin. Um, but yeah, that's what I want. I have high standards of myself, and I'm not 22. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like, oh, I'm gonna take some easy fights and build myself. I'm diving straight into the deep end. I want to fight the hardest fights, and if I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, but let me prove to myself and to the promotion if I'm good enough or not. Do you know? Don't hide people from me. And if we're in a tournament format, no one can hide from me. It's just whoever you get.
And so you're going to go undefeated this year. You're going to win the tournament. I'm going to make the trip over the pond and we're going to knock back some pints. What do you think?
I'm not really a pints guy, but we can have a few whiskeys, mate.
All right.
Definitely.
Sounds like a plan.
I'll educate you in some Irish whiskey. How about that?
I would
No
love
proper no proper 12 round there, lad.
that. That's all I have for you today, man. Like I said, I really do appreciate your time. I'm a fan. I cannot wait for your next fight and moving forward in your career.
No, I appreciate it, Jake. Nice one for having me on. Yeah, lad.
Have a great rest of your day.
Go on. You too, man. You too.